Right. Welcome, gents. Nick's driving home. He's been playing dodgeball, and Grant's cutting down mango trees, and Brad's saving the world. So yeah, we've got a few
Awesome.
guys that we've got a few guys that were unable to join in tonight. However, I did promise that we would record the Zoom this time. Um, So let's do that. Cool. Yeah, so I did promise that we would record the Zoom this time so they don't miss out what's going on. But the questions that we are asking tonight, there's a few more questions than last time. If you are watching the replay, which I'm sure a few of you will be, you will notice that the questions you may sit with for a while. So I would encourage you to, press pause when it comes to these questions. So, or even listen through. You might hear some of the answers from Grant, and even Nick tonight, and even Brad. So it's more about the sitting with all the data to help us become, better men. And when we say better men, it's like men that can make strong decisions and men that can from grow from any sort of experience. So what we're going to show tonight is, and maybe on this slide, if I can say welcome to you guys. Thank you. And then today is the 1st of July. So this is officially
Cool.
the beautiful part about today is that this is the official date that we've launched. So yes, we've done this is our second webinar, but it is our first day of launching Men's Mindset Network. So it's really exciting. So just imagine, in the coming months, there'll be, quite a few hundred guys here wanting to learn and grow. And the Zooms, there'll be less webinars, but more of the Zooms that will be available through every week, depending on what kind of membership you decide to jump in. So let's continue. Okay, so just to do a bit of a recap from last time, I know Grant knows who I am, but I'm going to go through both of us, the founders, myself, Luke Molliker, and Nick Reed. So one thing that we've identified with Nick and I is that we do have the same mission, hence why we've collaborated in this big project. And we do have some similar backgrounds in music, but we also have backgrounds of being passionate about helping men, not only like in life, but also in business. We're not business coaches, but it's more about helping the men find their better version of their self-image. So just remember the word self-image when it comes through. So let's continue. You'll learn more about us as we go along. All right, guys, we're going to start the conversation. And Nick, you can even play with this too, mate. So we've got three questions. Now, everyone's going to have a different perspective here. Number one is, what do you think is the biggest challenge that men are facing today? So that's our first question. So I am going to go to you first, Grant. So, and this may change from week to week for the guys, but just in this very moment, what do you think is one of the biggest challenge that men are facing today?
First thing that's come up for me is um, men's self-worth,
Yep.
and their main challenge, which will probably lead to self-worth, is um, lack of direction, lack of who they actually are
Yep.
as a human.
I totally agree. And with lack of direction, it's very much connected with someone's sense of purpose. When we've lost that purpose, it can really take the mojo away from you as being a man, and that's also affects our decision making. So he's just arrived back home. So Nick, this first question, mate, I want to pose this to you, and I'm going to talk to Brad about the next question. But for now, what do you think that is the biggest challenge that men are facing today?
I'd have to agree with Grant. I feel like it's a lack of direction and a lack of purpose as well. That quote comes to mind of men quietly leading, quiet lives of desperation. Comes to mind, in regards to, um, I'd say living out to their fullest potential would be if I could zoom out from all of it, if I could zoom out from purpose and from self-worth and all the rest of it. I think of when we think of life, um, in the sense that there's always that wonder, or even overwhelm of men that want more but are too scared to chase it, or they might feel at different stages of their life they've kind of let go of their dreams and they've compromised, or they're just going in the motions of things day by day. And I think I really speak. I think what we'd love to do is speak to that person, directly, and be able to show them that there's unlimited possibilities. You can chase your dreams, and I think this is a community just for that. So
And I agree with that too, Nick. And it's like when we start hitting our, like mid 30s to 40s, even to 50s, there are some people that may feel they're a little bit defeated. So, leading in from that question to the next one, guys. So, let's think about this one is what is one thing that men rarely talk about? So, I'll start with you again, Grant. And I'm going to talk about this as well, but what do you think is one thing that men rarely talk about? I'll just have to unmute, mate. Oh, have to unmute. You love this tech stuff. And still there. There we go.
Okie dokie. I'll start that again. One thing men really talk about is how they're feeling emotionally. I'm just talking from past experience.
Yep.
Push everything under the carpet and think, typical Aussie thing to say, she'll be right, mate. She'll work it out. She'll work out all right.
And what's bubbling
And
underneath?
really deep down, you're not okay.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because as men, or even as boys now, we're conditioned not to speak about your problems. It's like you've just got to suppress it. So you'll find that even men who are quite successful, I'm talking about men who earn like in excess of $10 million a year, can still have issues underlying about talking about their worth, their value. They even question themselves because if they don't see themselves as being of value, or their self-image being quite high, that's when the self-sabotage kicks in. So we're going to be talking a lot about self-sabotage tonight. And after the first webinar, I was discussing with Nick about the conversation. Like, let's talk to men about it and ask them what they feel, what's not been talked about, and shifting from being stuck into feeling free again, to express and also to create. We're meant to create. When you've got new projects, you're creating something new. So, Nick,
mm,
what do you
I
think
think
would one thing?
I think Grant hit the nail on the head about feelings, and it's interesting the dynamic that we have in culture about sweeping things under the rug. I have a keen interest in Stoicism, and I guess the juxtaposition to this is that thousands of years ago we had philosophers like Socrates and Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and like really famous old school philosophers who would discuss at length about life and tragedy and all these things. And men were quite articulate. You look at Abraham Lincoln, who was quite articulate and such a motivational speaker. And yet we find ourselves where men don't have those kind of communication skills anymore, and they can't, articulate how they're feeling. But I'd go one deeper. I'd say feelings is one thing, and being able to communicate those feelings is one thing. But I think feeling like being able to communicate anything is hard. Even I think we can sometimes have a good. It's good to have a good whinge every now and then. We can find ourselves talking about our problems here and there sometimes with the right kinds of crowds. But when it comes to talking about our dreams, it's kind of like, when we try to talk about things positively, that's a much harder conversation to have culturally as well, I find. So,
Thank you. And we're going to expand more on this. We're just scratching the surface.
Mm.
And the last question for this slide here is, why do you think successful men often feel stuck? So think about there are some people that are watching the Zoom and may have heard of guys like Robin Sharma. Yeah, he's a gentleman from the States who mentors billionaires. So you think like even billionaires feel stuck. It's not just about us guys that are working their way up. Even guys who have lots of money, remember it's the feeling. So if you feel free, you might have $10 in the bank, but you still feel free, which means you can still create. But the question, why do you think successful men often feel stuck? Just think about that for a moment. Because, firstly, define what the word success means to you. Because success is not just about how much money you got in the bank. So, successful on paper, as in they got the numbers there. So, the question, why do you think successful men often still feel stuck? We'll start with Nick this time.
I think this really closely relates to those 8 areas of life, when we really think about all the different areas of life. And yes, like you said, people can be successful on paper, but are they truly free?
Mm.
And I think a lot of it, I, I think it's that age-old saying, is that it actually reminds me of an interview that I saw of Will Smith with Stephen Bartlett. And he said, no one talks about the depression that you face when you're a billionaire. He said, when you have the money to be able to afford everything and anything you could ever want in the whole world, and you can have any of that, he said, there's kind of, Mount Stupid and the Valley of Despair, in terms of our growth, in terms of our progress. And he talked about the sense that, I never have to worry about money ever again. I can have anything that I ever want. And yet, we obviously saw him and Jada have like a massive breakdown of their marriage. And I won't talk about the kids too much, but, the kids aren't all that good either. And, like there's heaps of controversy in that family. They have this material wealth and success and all these extrinsic things that should validate people, but they're not validated inside. They don't have that emotional freedom or that self-worth or that sense of purpose or why they do those things or building something beyond just themselves.
And it's really interesting because I spoke to a few men last week and at a golf day, and some of the men still felt like they're a workaholic. They're working, so they've got a very successful business. I mean, kudos to them. You still got to put the hours in to get to the level that you feel where success lies. But this is why we've developed these 8 areas of life, which we'll talk about in some future slides tonight. Is that when you say define success, for some people, being successful could be that they have a thriving business, but they only work 3 days a week. For other people, they like to work every day because they don't feel it's a job. Some people have got families, some don't. So the variations here, and this is why to find balance in these 8 areas of life, which we'll be talking about shortly, come into play because every person that joins Men's Mindset Network will have a different perspective of what success means to them. So thanks, guys, for answering that. I know, Grant, we've got some more questions coming up, mate, so we'll pin you down. Okay, moving forward.
That's all right.
All right, so now my favorite subject. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I feel that I've been very versed in this field,
So,
and I feel that I've got the tradesman certificate and vice president and president of the Self Sabotage Club. So yes, I'm sure we can all relate to this one.
oh
Now,
yeah.
but here's some of the questions that we're going to talk about because a lot of men don't know, well, a lot of people, but a lot of men don't know why they self-sabotage, and some men don't even know what it actually is. They're basing their decisions from conditioning. They're basing their decisions on where they are in their environment, what kind of money they got in the bank, do they have any purpose? And for some people, and this is very much connected with self-image. So and I'll be saying this nearly every session, you'll find there'll be a theme that we're going to keep talking about over and over again, is that if we don't see ourselves as valuable, guess what? You're going to find ways consciously and subconsciously to knock yourself where you were, where you felt success was. I say was because the decline on where they actually are at. They're not seeing themselves as being the successful guy. Now, as part of my training in the past, which will be expanded on in the future, is like define what a successful man looks like and walks like and acts like. No one ever talks about this stuff. So, and once again, depending on where you live and what you do for work, etc., you may define this whole success or this image, this self-image, different. That's okay. We don't have to all be the same, but it's more about being your better version and staying there and then rising above to what you've ever expected. That's the aiming for excellence, not perfection. We know all about that, don't we, Nick? And Grant, you would have learned that the other week in in NLP, is that we're aiming for excellence. We're not perfection doesn't exist. So
That's it.
so the definition of the what is self-sabotage is it's the behaviors and thoughts that work against you, even when you know what you should do. I should go to the gym so I don't get fat. It's like you got to go, but you decide not to go. And that's just one very simple example, but there is a lot of things that are tied in with that. And there is that procrastination, which is the delay part. We're doubting that we're actually, because we're pushing against some of those limiting beliefs. That's a big one. A lot of people create procrastination because of their limiting beliefs. And we will go deeper in limiting beliefs, but a limiting belief is something that you believe about yourself that's bullshit. That's simple.
Yeah.
We hear these words, but we don't always understand what they are. So remember, a limiting belief is something that you believe that is true, that is absolute bullshit. So then we create, because of the procrastination, we create these distractions and excuses, and I'll put it off later. And then we're breaking our own promises to be our best version. Now, one of the reasons, well, there's more than five, but we've chosen the top five. There's a top five, guys, while we do it, is that we feel like there's a fear of failure, that it's better not to try at all. Let's face it, why bother? Because we're going to fail anyway. And we could really go down the rabbit hole. We could spend hours on that very that statement of fear of failure. Michael Jordan's the classic one. How many times did you shoot and miss? Wasn't it like more than 3,000 times, Nick, with Michael Jordan? I'm pretty sure.
I think it was. It was something
Yeah.
something as high as that. Even have you heard the thing about Roger Federer with
Oh, I've
tennis?
probably heard some similar things, but go for it.
Yeah, he said of all the games of his tennis in his career, yes, he's a 10-time Wimbledon world champion or world champion tennis player, but out of all the hits, he only did 51% versus 49% to win over his opponents on average. So
Wow.
he only did 1% better than his opponent, and that only equated to, I think it was 50 shots in the whole game or something, every game. So in terms of, he's the best, but he's only very, very, very marginally above others. And he talks
All
to
the other
the
guys.
humility of
Yeah.
that because obviously we all make mistakes, we all fail, we don't always win. But yeah, I think he spoke to a deeper truth of like the percentage of, even though he's the top of his game, how much is he actually winning? Like in that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally agree. And I think that the failure part is we've said about defining success, but also got to define what failure is too. Now, many failures can lead you to some great success, and without the failure journey, or we'll call it the hero's journey, how are you ever going to achieve any of those goals? Oh, it's just better not to try at all. We'll just stay in fear of not succeeding at all. And you could watch any sort of documentary of a rock star or an athlete, a business person. I mean, John Simons comes to mind. When he started Aussie Home Loans, he was looking for you know, investors, and he couldn't find any. No one would lend him any money. He went bankrupt 3 times, but the end of the story was that I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to this number that Commonwealth Bank actually bought out Aussie Home Loans for $600 million. Now, he went bankrupt 3 times and he still didn't give up. He didn't care about the fear of judgment. He didn't care about, stepping out of his comfort zone, because the only way that any of the men that join this membership and this program is that don't worry about your comfort zone. It doesn't even exist anymore. And it's okay to feel like, you're flying by the seat of your pants sometimes, because that's where you're going to have the breakthrough, feeling uncomfortable. So why men do the whole self-sabotage thing is they've got a fear of failure, fear of judgment. They've got some deep-rooted patterns from childhood. Now, the best part about this program, and also the work that we offer one-on-one, is that we can unpack all that and use some modalities to not only, knock it for a six, but not to come back ever again, as long as you keep growing and move environments. We're always in this constant state of flow. Um, but also, men don't know about this whole self-sabotage thing because they have a lack of self-awareness. That's very common across the board. Like any subject that we choose, which we're going to talk about down the track, is in these 8 areas of life, is that most men don't even have an awareness that it exists. And this is why we're here. One of the big reasons why we're here. Let's continue. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's look at the hidden cost of low emotional awareness. So, for starters, there is poor communication. We tend to have a lot of relationship conflict, not just intimate relationships, but also within friendships. For men in business, there could be some business setbacks because of the low emotional awareness. We make a lot of financial mistakes. We tend to fall into burnout, create that great old self-sabotage, which also leads to loss of any sort of confidence. That's the total opposite of where we want to take you guys. So, firstly, have an awareness that there's something going on, and then we can knock them all out for a six in groups. So, just remember early on in the Zoom here, we're going to mention about the accountability pods with the men, between 4 to 8 men. So, some men in the group may even have a high awareness, but they're still creating some sort of relationship conflict, but they've got an awareness, but they just haven't taken action, where some guys don't even know at all. So poor communication, relationship conflict, business setbacks, financial mistakes, burnout, self-sabotage, and loss of confidence. Let's continue. All right, more questions. We love questions. And this course is all about asking. It's not just about the information, but it's all about the getting the answers from within. So I'm going to hit this one for Grant. So question number one, mate. So who feels like they're successful on the outside, but know there's more inside them? So I know we said like define what success is, but who feels like they're successful on the outside, but know there's more inside them? So just think about the last, say, 2 years for you, Grant. Does this relate to you?
It does very much so, actually. Now that I'm sort of really thinking about it with intention. So my success is not so much monetary value. It has been on personal growth.
Beautiful.
From where I've come from, especially sort of, the last 2, 3 years. Um, yeah, if I think I hadn't had that awareness or some sort of awareness, I wouldn't say I was fully aware at the time. Um, yeah, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, I dare say.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? I met a lot of men last Friday at this golf day, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of these guys be watching this video. And if I spent even 10 minutes with each guy, I'll be there for a while, but even asking these first 4 questions, I can guarantee that about 95% of those guys in that room that they would have felt successful on the outside, like they've got a great business model, they're earning big bucks. They know there's something more inside of them.
Mm.
Now, the fun part even about the golf day was that for myself, it was my second time on the pitch. I don't consider myself as a golfer, but I had a good time.
Yeah.
But but some of my shots, um, and the guys who've been playing for a while, guess what? They were about the same. We both had some crap shots. Do you know what I mean? So it's no difference. All right, I'm going to ask you guys all this one. Who has achieved things in life yet still feels something is missing? I know I have. I've achieved lots of things. And the something that's missing for me is not a bad thing because that's part of the digging to find the greatness within each one of us. So if you're in that spot right now, if you're watching this replay and you go, yes, I've achieved things in life, but I still feel like there's something missing. I feel like I'm empty. It's not a negative thing. Maybe you haven't sat with it long enough because you've just been in that hamster wheel. I've just got to achieve more things. I've got all the trophies. Best award, best singer, Nick Reed. Yeah. But you could have all those awards, you can look at those trophies and have those memories. But if there's something missing, there's two parts to it. Number one is that you feel something's missing, you feel like you're a loser. Or number two, you feel like something's missing, you got the drive to continue. So you're either one or the other.
Took me
Hey
50
Brad,
years.
Can you tell me one thing that you've achieved in your life that you're really proud of? What's one thing that you know you've achieved that you're really proud of, mate?
Okay, well, the biggest thing is I've been in the Lions Club for 12 years in the early days, and I
Yep.
was on the board of directors, and I actually gave out nearly $20,000 a year. So that was probably the biggest thing. And I was with Sutherland Shire Council on a couple of committees, the Aboriginal committee as well for
Yeah,
Jarwin.
nice. Nice.
I was on there for 2 years.
But here's the thing, right? This has got nothing to do with how many zeros you got in the bank. As in, like if you've got 1 million, 10 million, 10,000, it doesn't matter. It's about feeling fulfilled, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Can I say something about the third question? Or the one that when you first started, the
Yeah.
last question about millionaires. I don't know whether you want me to say this on here, but it might be a bit of a shock for you. But are you willing to let me say it?
Go for it, mate. You're here.
Okay, the one with the millionaires. Okay, I'm actually being stalked by 4 millionaires at the moment, and I'm in helicopters and Teslas. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Thing is, right, if you're getting sought out by millionaires, that means
Hey,
that
but
you're
you know what I'm saying? If they had to come to the door, right, and sort of said who they were when they first come into the area, they
yep.
could have come to the door and said their names and taken me out for lunch or shouted me a beer or something. They
Yeah.
didn't do that. They kept stalking me. So I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing, right? There are some millionaires that have different mindsets to other millionaires. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
just because they've got big bucks in the bank, I mean, you could talk about Mike Tyson for the next hour. He had a portfolio of more than $400 million, and he lost most of it. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? So
This lady in this Tesla was, she stops down the road and then you get out to have a talk to her, then she drives off. So it's a
that's
bit of a weird
bizarre.
one.
But here's the thing, right? This is not just folks on men who've got lots of money. You could be at any stage of life in regard to yourself financially, but what we're
Yeah,
doing is, and we'll be explaining more about the different levels of membership with the 8 areas of life, is that for the people who do have a bit more money, but they still feel empty inside, we've got strategies there so they can feel fulfilled, make lots of money, and create impact in the community. So this is why, like, bringing someone in who's a millionaire, that's totally fine, but I could guarantee that they won't be ticking all the boxes.
yeah, yeah.
So,
No worries.
no, thank you, Brad. So
No worries.
the next few questions here is that, and this is one thing that I really find interesting. And I know, Nick, you want to talk about number two, but I'm going to tie these two together. Who wants to leave a legacy that family can be proud of? Now, we're not just talking about a financial legacy. I mean, that'd be great. But just think about the word legacy and what that means to you. So just sit with that for a moment, guys. Nick's going to talk about the previous one. He was just about to speak about what you've achieved in life, yet still feels something is missing. What were you going to say on that one, mate?
Oh, yeah, I'm won a couple of awards. For my business has achieved number one in Australia 3 years in a row for wedding singing, in the Australian Wedding Awards, ABIA Awards. That was a goal I had for quite some time, and then I went, 3 years back to back with that result. Um, and it was only the third time that I achieved that result that I finally kind of accepted all of the good, because I was used to be quite a critical analytical kind of person. Like I'd be like, oh, that's great, okay, next. I wouldn't celebrate I wasn't the person that celebrated wins. I only ever looked at faults. So but life is about, I know now that life is all about wins, even the little ones, and you got to celebrate all of them, because it's how you motivate yourself. It's how you can go and do more, and eventually, you won't feel the need for that extrinsic validation. You can just feel it on the inside. You can just walk down the street and feel proud and know that you've been contributing or doing your best or showing up as your best. And part of, I mean, one question that actually came up yesterday, we were talking about life insurance, and I realized that, in the whatever chance that I cark it tomorrow, um, I actually don't have enough to cover all the bills, and for my wife to like continue. So I only buy her, I think it's about 3 or 4 years worth of some cash flow, and then the family at home would probably have to get sold and all other stuff. So, and I know I'd be dead, and I wouldn't have to worry about it because I'm dead. But but I was like, in terms of legacy, it would be nice to, like, I know we don't, and money's not everything, right? But it'd be nice to just go, you know what, like if I cark it tomorrow, within the next 7 days, everything's taken care of. My kids will be fine. My wife's going to be fine. I'm not going to have to worry about it. But another thing was a video that Andrew Tate actually said, and it was, if you don't have the capability to pick up your whole family, like your wife, your kids, your whole life, and pick it up and move it to Japan for whatever reason, catastrophic or environmental or economic or whatever, he said, then it's almost like you're falling short of your potential. And I really sat with that, because it's an uncomfortable feeling. Like, we want to be certain, we want to have some uncertainty in life and adventure, but we
Mm.
also want to be certain. We want to have some security as well. And I think to some degree, money does provide that sense of security, but it's also, once, I guess it's about trying to find that balance between, okay, I have enough zeros in the bank, and obviously some digits in front of them, not behind them. um, but also, um, you know, once I get, I put this in quotation marks, get there, or I arrive to a goal that I'm comfortable with, I can, take my foot off the accelerator and find some inner peace, or it feeds in those other areas of life where I do find inner peace, you know.
And I think also too, Nick, like we with any sort of life goal, there's got to be, it's a bit like the aeroplane, like we've got to use a lot of fuel to get the plane up in the air, and eventually the wind will take care of itself, and using you know the law of lift comes into play.
Hmm.
And once we've used the law of lift into play, then we're actually flying with the eagles and above the eagles, of course. But it's that initial, thrust and all that fuel, that energy to bring that plane up into the air. It takes a lot of effort, and I think some guys fall short of their potential. Thanks for that, Nick. Our next question before we move on is, who believes that men should stop doing life alone? So we know that women are very good at congregating, and I feel that this question to sit with, it shouldn't be a hard question to answer, because we have noticed, and we're not here for suicide prevention. This is not a suicide prevention group, to say you know. This is about guys reaching their full potential and being happy in all those 8 areas of life. That is the goal for us. So, but the question still stands that who believes that men should stop doing life alone? Grant, what do you feel about that, mate?
Um, definitely not. Definitely not.
And have you
Um,
experienced that beforehand? Like it's that's also the other part of the question is that have you experienced that? Not saying that you've been alone as in not being married. I'm talking about like just you could be in this amazing relationship and life's great, the kids are great, but there's still like feel a bit alone on the inside. It's the feeling part we're talking about.
yes, most certainly.
Yeah. I have hundreds of
Um,
times in the
pardon?
past. So I have hundreds of times throughout my life. So, but when you think,
Um, yeah, I'll have, yeah. Even though I've had, mates around me and stuff like that, just that odd occasion there where I felt lonely, whether that's a self worth or a self image thing. Um, like now I'm part of like the men's fire circle group. Um, and I was talking to a bloke on the weekend, and he said, "Oh, from the first time I met you to now," he said, you're a totally different person." And a lot of the men in the group say the same thing. I think it's just that, pardon me, having that connection with other men on similar, we've got similar issues, I suppose you'd say.
yeah, and I think too that if you feel supported, you can have one friend, right? But if you feel supported, you can grow a long way. Now, I can guarantee you there are going to be hundreds of guys in these Zooms and our meetups in the future, and they'll never have to feel alone again. In actual fact, that will help the energy of the whole group to be successful. That's the idea of a mastermind. The mastermind is set out to help everyone grow because if one guy succeeds in one area and that's a missing piece for you, you've then got the inspiration and motivation to meet them of where they're growing. And by then they've probably gone to the next level. That's okay. It's like you want to surround yourself with people who have got what you don't have financially, spiritually, energetically, inspiration. We all need it. So this is why, Nick and I have had many conversations to lead up to now, and that was one of the big catalysts is to having the mastermind, the accountability mastermind. All right, so why Mindset Network exists? And like I said, our official launch is today, even though we've been planning this for the last 9 to 12
Mhm.
months. Is that right, Nick? It's like many conversations. I think I talk to him more than he talks to his own wife, but that's okay. But we're here on a mission, as you know, and we feel that men that are repeating the same patterns are never going to change, never change at all. So we said last time the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Thank you, Weinstein. So by changing the environment and giving opportunities to be heard, but also at the same time not feeling like they're not supported, but also not taking the bullshit either. Like we're going to take that procrastination away. It's like, what excuses are you making this week? You're going to have like 4 to 5 or 6 other guys in your group going, "Come on, guys,
Yeah.
let's take some action." Now, we do a lot of men do silently have financial pressure, even if they've got a lot of zeros in the bank and a few 5 and 6 digits in there, if not more. But they do still feel financial pressure. They still feel they have relationships challenges. They have leadership responsibilities. So, some of the men that I spoke to on Friday, they're CEOs of their own company and they've got staff like, 5, 10, 20 people. So there is some leadership responsibilities and that can lead to stress and overwhelm, but it's silently. The idea is to express it without judgment in the group. So by expressing it and then other ways to help release that feeling pressure that they can rise above that, even though they're still we could say a shitstorm going around, and they're still sitting very, very strong like the rock. All right. So in regard to your self-image, there is an element of experiencing what we classify as emotional intelligence. So this is the ability to understand yourself. You recognize your emotional patterns. So like you still got stuff going on, but you recognize it and you acknowledge that something is going on, and then you've got some strategies and tools to release that energy, which means you can regulate your responses. You can then communicate more effectively and not be scared to communicate, which builds stronger relationships and then in turn will help with better decision making. Is there anything you want to add on that one, Nick?
Not particularly, no, but I think when it comes to emotional intelligence, having all those abilities to be able to do all that, it's makes life a hell of a lot easier. So, and I think the thing is like talking about patterns, like these patterns, these habits, like this is the environment where we bring things to awareness. It's all about awareness, but it's also about understanding as well, in the sense that there is no judgment. So there's no judgment from others, but there's also no self-judgment either. It's just awareness. It's just becoming aware of what's actually happening at a level of our subconscious. What are the patterns that are actually coming up? Because it's either like with my romantic partner, it's either causing connection or disconnection. In my business, it's either creating more opportunities or less opportunities. And so this process is about, having all this awareness is the first step. And this is the environment that helps promote that awareness in the first place, to be able to stimulate these conversations and go, hey, when I do this, I know this is often what comes up for me. And it's about sharing and understanding, and then consciously choosing to take a different direction or choose a different behavior or take up a different habit, or being able to put things in place to minimize those things coming up in the first place that you're trying to avoid.
No, totally agree, Nick. Thank you.
I was just
All
going to
right.
say before we move on from that, I think that's going to be a very big component for a lot of men. So I've learned over the years with my own experiences. Yeah, I think that's going to be a great. They're all great tools, but I think that may hit home very hard. I think with a
Mm,
lot of men.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're all
And
learning too. Like Luke's the master at relationships. I go to him quite a lot for relationship advice. So, and like, but we're all learning in this, right? But yeah, like Luke and I, we've spent
Thanks.
a lot of time and money and effort to build tools and to be able to have conversations and do these things. And this is part of what passing that torch on and sharing that with
yeah.
others as well. And
And and I think is Nick, like there in regard to leadership, right? And this is a perfect example, is that there's some things that I have that you don't have, and then you've got some things that I don't have, and we always learn from each other and grow. This is the whole idea. It's not about being perfect leaders. There's no such thing as a perfect leader, but it's more about having the awareness, having some strategies to use, creating a strategy so you can use the tools to then grow. So like there is some sort of succession one after the other if you got the right people around you. And it's like relationships is something that I've worked really, really hard on, not just personally, but professionally as well. It's like, the way you walk out the door, like you dress for success. Tonight I'm wearing our branded t-shirt, so is Nick. He's wearing his branded t-shirt. Um, he's wearing his AC/DC shirt. Um, but it's more about um, the stimulating conversations, so we can bounce off each other, but also learn about other perspectives, because there's more than one perspective on any situation or challenge that you may have in life or in business. So, our Men's Mindset Network is a professional growth community for men committed to growth, leadership, and excellence. So, we're reaching out to you guys, the leaders, the husbands, the fathers, the business owners, the professionals, and of course, human beings, right? So, we're reaching out any person that's ready to jump in. We're going to be holding your hand and taking to the next level and beyond.
I was just going to say we work with human beings only. We can't unfortunately, we can't work with aliens. So,
That's where we get our information from. All right, guys. So this is something that has been tweaked over the last, like, especially the last 6 months, but around 9 months in total. That there are many areas of life, but to come up with 8 areas that we feel that once they're in balance or in alignment, that you will feel more fulfilled on the inside. Now, like I mentioned beforehand, that some guys may work too much. I've been in the workaholic club. I do have a couple of trophies that you may see behind me, a couple of nice gold mirrors and a nice lounge. But doing workaholic, and even if you've got $100 million in the bank, you still may be a workaholic. You're not delegating to, give yourself some balance, a bit more fun and lifestyle. One of my mentors, Kevin Trudeau, he does mention that he did some training for a young bloke, went for 3 days, and for the first 2.5 days, they went fishing, rock climbing, did all these activities. And this young bloke's like, "So when's the training start, Kevin?" And it was not those last few hours that he dropped the nugget of gold, and then the guy had the epiphany. So it's like he was waiting for this big nugget. Oh, Kevin's going to share this amazing tool or strategy or something. 2.5 days, it was all leisure. And this is the kind of things that I've been slowly integrating in my life, is that there's got to be a bit of fun and lifestyle. I mean, we've done a bit of travel already in the start of this year. We went to the Bahamas and to Miami. Never been there my whole life, but just to have that experience and be with like-minded people, like 2,200 like-minded people on a leadership cruise. And guess what? All this data that we bring into the fold is going to be utilized in bits and pieces in this training. This is the reason why we go and have fun and lifestyle. So, the main components, of course, is mindset and personal development. That's going to be like your base. It's going to be your foundation for this whole training. We One of Nick's favorite subjects, health and energy. We both love this area of life, because without health and energy, you cannot do all the others. We can't. We can, but you might struggle. We're going to be working with relationships. It's very much my favorite subject, is relationships, but not just relationships with your partner or with your friends, but mainly the relationship with self. That's a huge one. And I know that Nick's going to integrate some amazing stoicism training in the relationship section as well. Career and business. And like I said, we're not business coaches, but we're going to help develop some strategies so you can feel more confident within your own business or career if you're working for a boss. And you'll find by having a more substantial self-image, that you feel great about yourself, that you'll show up differently, you will make more money, and you'll end up growing throughout your company, or your business will grow exponentially. Money in abundance. Talk about money. We are going to integrate some with this whole subject of money and abundance. There is going to be an element of law of attraction in here too. So, you know, over the last 20 years, it's been more accepted using the terminologies of law of attraction, but we're going to be teaching a lot about law of detachment, law of lift, and to be honest, it's a big subject. And in saying that, using some of those strategies so you can then have the opportunity to earn more money, but not working the crazy hours like we've done in the past. But also being abundant, it could be abundant of love for yourself, abundant in having lots of food, or abundant in travel, so it's not all lots of gold, nuggets of gold. But no, it's really about abundance in all areas of life. So it's not just about the money thing, but we do tie them in together because a lot of people relate to it. Number 6, spirituality and alignment. Nick and I love this subject. We've spoken many hours on this subject, and there are many variations of what we identify as being spiritual. When we dive into the training, you'll be surprised at some of the things I will tell you and share with you what spirituality is and what it isn't. It may challenge some of you guys, but that's what it's there for. It's actually there to challenge and question about your own spiritual journey. There's a lot of men that might say, I'm not spiritual. I say bullshit, because there is an element within every person that has the capability of being a spiritual person, which means that you live life with integrity. Big underline there. Another one of my favorite subjects, and which we're doing right now, is contribution and impact. We've got the capacity to do this at many different levels. It could be locally, it could be internationally, and we're going to give you some great ideas how you can give back in your way without, taking too much of your budget away or your wealth that you have. And the very last one, because Nick goes away every 3 weeks to the Bahamas, that fun and lifestyle is definitely on the cards. I mean, I've known Grant for a good 6 years now, and I have seen him on quite a few family adventures. They've gone away up the coast, down the coast, wherever, to connect with family, an opportunity to take themselves out of their own home environment to then experience something else with other families. So it's like that's also part of the fun and lifestyle. Yeah, when you got little people, you might not see it as fun sometimes, but it's all about bringing the kid within us. For me, like in regard to fun, I mean, I'm the same as Nick. I don't play professionally full time, but I do play music. I also, played a show the other night, and it was like very impromptu, and it's like I see that as fun. Yes, I got home at 2 a.m., but it was fun. Played lots of songs, and I felt fulfilled regardless of what you get paid. I feel fulfilled. Nick, he earns $1 million a gig, so he can just play 1 gig a year, and he's great. One wedding of 500 people, and he's made his bucks. But fun and lifestyle is also wide and varied when it comes to, what do you see as fun? Some people play pickleball, some people play dodgeball, some people play tennis, some people go shooting at the rifle range. Whale watching, whatever it means to you, because let me tell you, it's those little things that bring the fulfillment in your life rather than just doing the work thing or just working for your boss and working 7 days a week. So we know that we're going to be attracting a lot of FIFO workers as well, which stands for fly in, fly out. And we're going to bring this awareness in that yes, they might earn the great money, but we're going to make sure that the money that they earn can be used in a healthier way so they can get the best of themselves. All right, so Nick dropped out before, so I'll let Nick back in. All right, so we spoke a bit before about these 8 areas, but just to give it into a smaller framework here is that our mindset and personal development works on confidence, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and leadership. Our health and energy works on physical well-being, vitality, and resilience. Relationships talk about communication, connection, family, and friendships. Career and business talks about leadership, productivity, influence, and growth. Money and abundance, we're talking about financial awareness and wealth creation, but I mentioned before about other ways to be abundant. Spirituality and alignment, we talk about purpose, values, and personal meaning. Very big one, like bigger than probably all of them put together. Contribution and impact, serving others and creating influence, because leaders that create more leaders. Success leaves clues. Think about that one. Success leaves clues. Fun and lifestyle, which is enjoyment, adventure, and life balance. Finding all those essences, bring them together. And when you have balance in all areas, you will feel fulfilled, you'll be making more money, and you'll be a lot happier in your world. More questions, guys. I'm going to throw it out to the field here. Now, of course, the people that are watching Zoom, what 3 areas of your life do you feel that you need the most improvement right now and why? I'm going to throw this one to Nick for a minute. 3 areas of life. So we talked about those 8 areas of life, but we're just going to choose 3 that you feel that you need the most improvement. So I'll go back that one slide. 3 areas that you need to work on the most.
I reckon relationships.
Yep.
So communication would be a good one.
Yep.
I actually have spirituality and alignment in the sense of having more, I'd like to have more practice of that.
Yep.
I already have contribution and impact already, but I'd like to have more of that as well. That'd be great. Yep. So kind of having, I think it's mine's probably they're all actually all interrelated, as you like with the relationships and communication and having influence and helping others and having purpose and having more practice. Like it's kind of all I feel like all those areas are all part of my next chapter with what I'd like to do.
I feel for me, it's health and energy, and I've been working on that for a while. I do have a new burst of energy with, some newfound health improvements in the last couple of months. So I'm very happy about that. I definitely want to jump more into a spirituality and alignment, thinking how much more can I dive into, but I do want to dive more into that. But and contribution impact, I want to do more of that as well. I want to do a lot more on money and abundance, and what I mean by that is, feeling abundant, as in like owning that more. It's like yes, the money will come in, but it's the feeling that we're tapping into. What about you, Grant? Like, I mean, think about the three areas that you would need the most work on. What would you think? Your top three?
Mm, Probably career and
Yep,
business.
yep, yep,
Um, Abundance as well, number five.
yep.
And oh, I could say three or two.
Okay, health and energy. Yep. But can you see how
Um,
like we sit with it?
yeah.
Because we could go down the rabbit hole and say why. I mean, we could spend another hour talking about the why, but when you think about it, like not every person is balanced in every area of life. Because sometimes we're working on a specific goal and it takes a lot more health and energy to get to a career or business goal. And then we sit with and go, oh, hang on. I feel like I've been able to balance it. Yes, I've achieved this goal. I'm now the CEO of of this business. I've got the money there. I feel I need to flip the story a bit and go a bit more into, fun and lifestyle or even contribution and impact. Or maybe my health went south a little bit. I need to focus on that. So it's that we're balancing, but that's okay. Do you know what I mean? But if you don't have an awareness, you'll fall into burnout, and then all of a sudden you've lost most of your money, or you've used a lot of your money to improve your health so you can actually live another day. There was a guy, I think he was a billionaire, and he said he'd give all his money away just to have another day of being healthy. All his money. Not saying half of it, all of it. Interesting. So health and energy really should be number one for everyone. How often do you find yourself reacting emotionally rather than responding intentionally? I think we've all felt that beforehand. For the people that are watching this, this might be the biggest question of the whole night. Now, how often do you find yourself reacting emotionally? Now, that can also be, yes, it could be from childhood, but also the environment that you live in. So, if you're aware of your environment and how you can feel comfortable expressing without reacting, but being responding in a way that you can use the right tonality. We are going to use a lot of linguistic stuff as well. And we do have NLP training available for our members too. So there are opportunities to improve on that. I'm going to ask this one for Brad. What goal have you been putting off that you know you should improve, that you know that would improve your life? Think about a goal that you think that you've been putting off for a while.
Yeah, my goal is to go overseas. So I'm waiting on
Okay.
a passport. So I'm saving up for a passport, and
Yep.
I want to go to New Zealand, and I want to fly first class.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. And you know what?
I do that for work. I'm
Yeah,
going there for work.
that's
So
awesome.
that's
And
something I'm doing. That's about $2,600. That's including everything.
that's amazing. You know what? I want to do that too.
And it's
It's,
only to Christchurch. It's 800. It's $1,800 to go first class with Emirates.
but you know what? That's your goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's
Yeah,
personal to you because if that's going to improve your life, as in like feeling good about yourself, like I know a guy who flew first class and had a shower and caviar flying like Emirates, I think himself, like literally 4 to 6 weeks ago.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
want to
feel
fly every 4 months. I want to fly to New Zealand every 4 months for work.
beautiful.
So, that's
Just
something, that's an extra thing. Like have the seminar in Sydney where I got to go normally,
Yep.
but go to Brisbane and then go there to New Zealand too.
That's
So that
amazing. And that's your goal. That's the thing, right? So by putting that off, you're not going to feel fulfilled. It's like I'm going back to Miami in 2028, but I want to go back to the States way before that. But that's just
yeah.
like go Miami, then
I got
Jamaica.
something else I can add to that too.
Yeah, go
But
for
I'm
it.
going to fly first class, but I'm actually going to buy my own plane. I'm going to buy a Cessna Citation Longitude,
Yeah.
which cost $43 million. But I'm buying the aircraft on a platform which costs $700. So you could go and actually fly my plane. So that's pretty interesting.
I need some flying lessons.
Yeah,
That's
you would.
awesome. But here's the thing, right? But no matter how big or small, like I seen a video from the musician Youngblood, because he's running his own festivals now. He flew in on his own private jet. You have Youngblood on the side, and he's a very
Yeah,
young guy, but he's very successful. So I love seeing those people, whatever their goals and dreams are. If anything, the dreaming part is the most important part because having the capacity to dream bigger it might scare
yeah.
the pants off you, but by doing that, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Something could land in your bank account and boom,
Yeah,
you're there.
you know that you put up a helicopter as well. Is that something you want to do?
The helicopter, not for me personally. I feel a boat would probably be for any sort of aircraft thing. I do like boats, but I'll probably get a guy to
Oh,
drive the
boats. So
boat.
you're the
I
boat
love
man. You like
boats. I
boats.
love boats. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen you down at that dock where all the boats are sitting. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Somewhere
there's
down in
one in
Sydney.
Woolloomooloo, there's one in Nelson Bay that I go to a fair bit. And that's the thing about the dream building, right? It's like having the
Yeah.
capacity to like sit in the boats, touch, feel, take photos. We're
Are
going
you
to talk.
allowed to? Are you allowed to go in? Do you know some people that own boats, or
I know a couple of guys, but I've also gone to where they sell the boats too. And if you're interested, you can go and have a look around. But some of those boats are worth quite a few $1 million. But
is there
it's
some some stage that I could see those boats in Sydney?
oh, not the Sydney ones, the Nelson Bay
No,
ones
no,
are
but I
probably.
mean, you say where you buy boats from?
The ones I've seen to buy boats from is Nelson Bay. There's the ones in
Oh,
Nelson
okay.
Bay. Yeah, some beautiful spots there. That's amazing. But
Okay.
you know what? We're going to share more about the law of attraction part too, so you can build your dream bigger. That's another part of the money in abundance.
All right. Well, I'll sit in the background now and let you guys go.
No, it's all good. It's good to talk about this stuff. This is great. All right. So number four is what value would a strong network of supportive men bring to your life? So Grant, I'm going to throw that one to you, brother.
Right, right.
What value would a strong
Um,
network of supportive men bring to your life?
it would bring camaraderie first. With that, what value? Strong network of supportive men bring to your life. It would help me be accountable.
Okay.
Um, Even though, as you know, I've done a bit of work on myself recently,
Yep.
but I still think being held accountable by other men
Yep.
is quite a useful tool.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And the thing is that when you let's say like there's going to be a guy in the group, I can guarantee that will join that will be worth a lot of money. He may not show it. He might keep it even private to himself, but here's the thing that in the group energetically, he's got something that we don't have. Like he might have 20 million bucks in the bank, right? But it's more about being inspired by someone like that energetically in the group because he might be missing some other areas of life, hence why he's in the group. So the accountability part for him might be a health thing. For you, it could be a financial thing or career in business or relationships. So this is why these kind of networks work really, really well because we're all being accountable to each other because we've all always got something that somebody else in the group doesn't have and vice versa. So thank you. All right, so why do we matter? Because we believe that men need accountability, support, being challenged, have different perspectives, mentorship, big tick, and community, big tick. They're all big ticks, but it's something about being aware that why brotherhood in this scenario matters. So why are we doing this? That we want to help men to be accountable, create great business and career growth, build better relationships, have great health and well-being, definitely purpose and fulfillment, and really have the essence of being a great leader because of their emotional intelligence. All right, so we've certainly gone extended for our Zoom tonight, and if you're still here, this is great. I do commend you for listening to what we've got to say, but we've got lots to say over the next couple of years or so. But we do have four membership pathways now. The membership, which is initiation, that's an entry level membership, and that's about the community, the connection, and the access. And you'll have connection to a lot of the training in the portal, and also have the capacity to jump onto one Zoom per month. So if you're a busy guy, you may not be earning as much money, but you want to be part of the team, well, you've got your commitment. That's once a month. For your foundation membership, there's weekly training, accountability, and growth. For the growth membership, you've got the additional support, but with a lot of coaching touch points and deeper development. And of course, our top membership, being the breakthrough membership, is our highest level support, mentoring, and transformation. We meet you where you're at. We've been in these areas, we've worked on these areas before. This is why we've developed this pathway. So just imagine where you'd be in the next 12 months if you had improved mindset, health, relationships, finances, and leadership. What would become possible? Now, I know that from some of the work that I've done, I wouldn't even think about going to the Bahamas on a cruise ship from Miami. It wasn't even my scope. So you think about what can change from now just purely by being part of an amazing group that we have here. I'm glad I had a shave back then, by the way. All right, Nick, do you want to explain the first offer, mate? We'll go on through on the initiation.
So initiation is starting phase here. So it's our entry level, but by no means is it. I guess how would you say? It's not a flop. It's definitely some of the juiciest, best content that we have prepared, or we are preparing in this area right as we speak, is comes from hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of courses and coaches and all the rest of it and programs. So even coming in at just this level, at just this commitment of $69 a month, takes all of the best information that we have in all of those 8 areas, and you will already start to make really massive shifts and changes. So for Luke and I, it's not about trying to get us or trying to get a whole bunch of men into our top tier package and charge wads of cash and all the rest of it. We're actually here because we have a mission to actually generally help people across a spectrum of whether they have lots of money or they have enough to make a start. And this is a perfect start. So initiation here is you have that access to the community. You've got access straight away to those member benefits and online learning and resources. And this is our offer that we have before it says here, but join before 1st of July. So we're already there, but you know, like it's going ahead regardless, guys. Like this is seriously like I've been putting the content together, the videos, the worksheets, the write-ups for this thing, and I'm already excited at even at just this level. You're going to get a lot of powerful shifts in this.
Absolutely. So when you join, Nick, you do get a month for free. So this won't be lasting long, but it's like to be honest, we're going to be holding this position for the next like 4 to 6 weeks tops. Because once we get into out of the beta phase, we're going to be launching into the next level in regard to content. The pricing will be changing, and these offers won't be like this forever. Thank you, Nick. All right, so we've just talked about the inclusions, and we do, and if you do have a team, like if you've got a team of people that want to learn from us, anything more than 5 people, it's only $49 a month. And we love giving back to B1G1. They'll be a big part. We will have other charities, but that's one of the biggest ones, and we'll explain more about them later. All right. So we just spoke about if really beforehand, if we improved all 8 areas of life, where we'd be in the next 12 months, what would become possible. Sit with that one. We're not going to go through a discussion because we're near the end of our Zoom, but I just want you to feel into those 8 areas that we spoke about beforehand. All right, so we're not going to go through every membership, but we are going to go through what they call the foundation membership, which is like the bottom tier of the three: foundation, growth, and breakthrough membership. So this is I suppose, the bottom of these top memberships. So what is the inclusions is that you're part of a private community, that you still have the online portal, learning portal. And to be honest, with this tier, there'll be some extra meatier lessons that will not be in the initiation portal. That's for the initiation memberships and foundation and growth and breakthrough. But we're also going to be creating some meatier content for foundation, growth, and breakthrough throughout the next couple of years. You will get the capacity to do a weekly Q&A, which will go for at least an hour to an hour and a half. The questions will be relating to the 8 areas of life and any other question that's kind of in between. We do offer a weekly networking Zoom. So if you're a person that's in business and you want to network your product or service, you've got the capacity to do that on a weekly Zoom. You are part of the monthly 30-day challenge, which means that you'll get a scorecard so you can measure your growth for the challenge of life that you have. You do get a little 20-minute coaching call. This is not minor. Even a 20-minute call can create a massive shift. It's like you have all your questions ready to go and we get into the call and we give you some structure so you can then achieve more goals quickly. That happens once a month. There is a personal development book study, and we choose different books, and including this book here, which is, I can see that. Oh yeah, Your Wish is Your Command, the full heavy book. We've already got our first box delivered last week. And when you join as a foundation member or above, you will receive one of those books and also one of these t-shirts. So we're going to be ordering some more t-shirts because I think I stole them all. And my whole wardrobe's full of Men's Mindset Network t-shirts. You'll be part of a group, a support access for WhatsApp or Telegram, either will be one of those two. And you've got the capacity to unlock more opportunities for other memberships because there's more offerings. We're not going to talk about all of them tonight, but you can look on the website for that as well. If you just explain about the offerings for the foundation, growth, and breakthrough memberships that we've included.
Talk, you mean talk about this particular offer that we've got here
Yes, this offer here. Yes, correct.
Yeah. All right. So we're still, as Luke touched on, we're still in our beta phase. Like today, yes, is our official day of our first day of officially launching. It is our second webinar, but for the next, you said what, 4 to 6 weeks, we'll honor this, something like that, vaguely. Yeah, jump in for 6 weeks, and you'll receive an additional 6 weeks included. So that's what, a month and a half, and you'll get 3 months for the price of 3. So 12 weeks of training. And yeah, there's all these different levels as well, from between foundation, growth, and breakthrough. Growth and breakthrough will have obviously more additional touch points, more additional coaching opportunities. But any of those three, like even stuff at foundation, even stuff in initiation, like jumping in, as we touched on initiation before, is all a part of just getting you in, getting you educated, getting you started. For people that want to do personal and professional development, we're not holding the secret sauce. We are playing all out in this space and giving you everything that we've learned and know in this space. So that's the most
excellent. Yeah, thank you, Nick. And but also in regard to that, we do have a calendar on the website that explains when the Zooms are on. We are going to have some bi-monthly half-day trainings, whether that's going to be on Zoom or hybrid, as in like at a venue and online. So it depends how we might do it in Brisbane 1 month, and we might every 2 months, and then somewhere else might be in Melbourne or Sydney or Central Coast. It's going to be in a lot of different areas as we grow. But the point being is that, there are a lot of touch points, as Nick was saying, that the higher memberships do offer more opportunities to grow. So and also we're going to be offering we've already locked it in, Nick. I think I told you the other day. Remember, it is the Black Tie event, which is going to be in Sydney on the 11th of December, which is a Friday, and also the men's retreat, which is June 25 to 27th next year. So you guys are all welcome to join us for 2.5 days of some amazing fun, great venue, and we'll be having a private chef too, just so you know. Okay, so I will send through all the people that join the Zoom or watch the replay. I will send you through a member guide and we'll explain all the different pricing points that you can invest in yourself. Like I said, this is only for a limited time. So, the more you delay, the prices will go up. The prices over at Foundation is normally 149 a week. It's down to 125 a week in this beta phase. Same with the growth membership. It's normally 549 a week. And for you guys, we get to lock this in for 12 months, 250 a week. So you stay with us for a whole year, and there might be some other benefits that we're going to offer down the track, which we won't go into now. But let me tell you that we're having conversations nearly every day with other business owners to create so much value that you can't say no. So this is why we started here at the beta phase, and we'll grow from there. And of course, with the breakthrough membership, there's a lot of touch points with that one that it's only at $450 a week. And let me tell you, for the kind of prices that is charged for mentorship, these prices are very reasonable. So I'm very excited about that. So if there's any other questions, please reach out to us at any time. The people watching the Zooms, jump on a free clarity call just to give you a bit more clarity on the journey ahead. I think that a lot of the things that we've covered tonight should do that. But if you've got a few other questions, you can reach out and you can register today. So it's mensmindsetnetwork.com. There'll be a register now red button. You fill the form out and then we do an onboarding Zoom to go through it all. If you join as an initiation member, it's just you get an email and you log in and do the lessons. Foundation growth and breakthrough memberships, we do a bit more of an onboarding and go through the process with there. But there is an event calendar that shows all the different Zooms that will be available. And we'll take it from there. So thank you so much for joining tonight. I am going to stop recording and capture all that. Stop recording and go.